I'd like to call a meeting of the Harwich Cemetery Commission to order at 8:06. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Steve. Do you want to read the orders, which is at the top of the meeting page?
Okay, we have to read the whole thing?
At least the first two lines.
Okay, pursuant to the Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, GLC 30A-18, and the Governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Town of Harwich Cemetery Commission on Tuesday, February 9th at 8 a.m. will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible.
So Cindy's actually asking me questions, so hold on 1 minute. All righty, so you called it to order at what time, Steve?
8:06.
I think we should just try to go. I think she's having technical difficulties.
Bless you.
Thank you.
That's all right. Did everybody get a chance to read the minutes from last meeting?
Good.
Cool. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Who's going to, do I second it? I'll second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes accepted. Okay, we'll start right off with an email from Annette.
From Anita. So,
Anita.
so that's the state ethics that we do every single year, and every commission has to do it. This is Cindy. Hold on 1 second. Hi, Cindy. You should just be able to click on it, go out and go back in and try to do it again. Good. All right. I don't know what it's.
I had to type the number in. It's on the top of our minutes.
Steve said he had to type the number in that was at the top of the minutes.
The 562 number, whatever it was.
562 number.
The email that you sent this morning worked fine.
I clicked on it, still made me enter the number.
All righty. So, so every year people have to do those minutes. I mean, every year people have to do these state ethics. So they're just making sure that everyone has read over all of the paperwork that comes with it. And then you all have to sign off on the state ethics form, which then I turn into Anita saying that you received it and that everyone is complying with the state ethics.
Okay, do you need a copy of the certificate then?
Yes, if you
Okay.
have that, it would be great.
Do we have to do that every year? I thought that was every couple of years at one point.
Every year we get the receipt from Anita saying that everyone's received it. You might not have to do the test, or I have to verify that, but every year we've done that. So I have all the previous years right in front of me. I have the 2021 that everyone signed off on. So just trying to keep everyone honest.
There you go. Okay, then we get an email from Patty.
Yep.
Report.
Yeah, she is the secretary to the town administrator. So she is putting together the annual town report. So luckily that we already went before the Board of Selectmen, so our report was already completed. I updated it with a few minor changes, just the end of the year totals, and submitted it. So that will be in the annual book. So that's the report of the Cemetery Commission that's in that book that everyone gets every year. So that's been completed.
Then the email from Cape Cod Fence.
Okay, so there are a few sections of the stockade fence in Mount Pleasant Cemetery. So some of the abutters had called the DPW to have them fixed or repaired. And Jim Stratton, who is our foreman, went down there and took a look at it. And he thought it was gonna be more than they could handle, and recommended that we go out to get someone to do the repairs. To repair the fence is $990. So I don't know if you guys would like to move forward with that, so we can repair the fence so that it's correct.
It's just one section of the cedar.
It's a couple different sections. So it's one whole thing needs to be replaced, and then a couple of the round posts need to be replaced. And I don't know if he can do it right now with the ground being frozen as a rock, but as soon as he can. So do you guys want to move forward with that?
I think that's.
Can I make a motion that we move forward with that and get that done?
All right.
Second that.
All righty.
Then the next one is Wendy Tullock, Assistant Accountant.
Yep, so she just gives us the totals for all of the accounts. So I just like you to have them in the packet, just so you are aware where we're at. So we're in pretty good shape. And we have still remaining balance on our budget. We have $6,992. We started off with $24,000. We have a very small budget, so most of it's for water. And then in our revolving account, our revised balance was $96,062.33. So we're in really, really good shape in that account. I just like you guys to be updated on what the balances are, so that when we do pay for these expenses, like $990 will come out of that 96,000.
Okay. Then we get an Arboretum tour today, Ashley?
Yes.
Yes.
Hopefully. I mean, yeah. I think so. Unless the weather does not, but so far it's looking good. So
Yeah. So I think it's just gonna have light flurries this morning. Later this afternoon, it might turn to a little bit of rain, but you guys are going at 11. As you know, I will not be able to attend because we have a mandatory department head meeting at 11 o'clock, which is at the same time. So Ashley and Caroline, and I think, who else is going? Ashley, do you know?
I'm assuming Amy.
No, Amy's not gonna go because we have a mandatory department head meeting. So I know Nikki's going in her place from there, but I think Tyler's also going, and
Oh,
some of the commissioners from the Conservation Trust as well.
cool. Yeah, and sounds good.
So hopefully they'll see where the cemetery and the conservation piece link together, because we are going to look at putting in a couple applications to the Conservation Trust to see if we can do some invasive species work around the lily pond, as well as maybe raising the canopy so that we can see the actual island pond from the parking area, which is connects the two. It might be a little slippery, so if it is, you guys are gonna have to look at it from a distance.
Okay. So wear boots, right?
Wear your boots.
Yes.
All right. Well, I'm going to plan to be there, Ashley, so.
Great. Looking forward to it.
I'm a little bummed I can't go, but I'm sure you'll do a great job, Ashley.
Yeah.
No doubt.
I hope so.
And the next one is an email from Paul Sweetser about the Kelly Cemetery.
Yeah, so the Kelly Cemetery is one of the projects that we started when I first took this job in 2004. Oh, there's Cindy. Yay.
Good morning.
So he sent in an estimate to do the survey around the Kelly Cemetery property. It's going to be a cost between $2,500 or $3,000, but not to exceed the latter amount. And he'll survey the entire property, which we've been trying to get that Kelly Cemetery property cleared. It went before town meeting, I believe in 2008, and then it had special legislation filed, I believe the following year. So we'd like to get all of this stuff. He just has to make a map that he can put into the Registry of Deeds with the new bounds for that property. And that would be for expansion at a later date. Currently, we eventually we're gonna need as much space as you know, I've been selling cemetery lots like
Crazy.
crazy. Eventually, we'll need this for future expansion. I'd like to put a final closure to this and at least get the map filed at the Registry of Deeds and get the bounds put down. So the total is not to exceed $3,000, and I just need to know if you guys want to move forward with this so I can let him know. Does anybody want?
Well, I move, we move forward because this is something that really has to be done.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second, all in favor?
All right.
Okay, passes. Do you have
Okay.
any other old business?
So we have an update on the CPC articles. I did go before the CPC on the 28th of January, and the Evergreen Veterans Memorial was unanimously passed. And I don't think we're gonna have much of an issue with that. I have reached out to some of the veterans services to see if we can get additional funding to maybe defray the cost. That way we can, so I need to draft a letter at some point with maybe one of you commissioners, and then you guys could probably sign it so we could send to them. So I have a list of 5 different veterans groups that we could maybe reach out to and see if we can get some funding for the project. A lot of them, like the veterans, I think it's the VFW in Chatham. I know that this year they've been particularly hit hard because they have not been able to have events or anything in their facilities. So a lot of them don't have any funds, but then there's other ones who actually do have funds from in their bank accounts. So hopefully we can reach out to them and see if we can get some funding for that. So then the other one was the HP1, which is the East Harwich Gravestone Conservation and Preservation, and that's for the monuments that are at the Union Cemetery in East Harwich. As you guys know, this cemetery predates the church. It's a Revolutionary War. Veterans are buried there, and so some of the people that were buried there were before there was a church on that property. So the church predates that. I mean, the cemetery predates the church. So there has been some controversy about well, maybe, I think some of the CPC members have a little bit of concern that the church, who would be liable if somebody got hurt? And I know that we had reached out to Joe Powers to get some legal opinion on that. And he says that it would have to come from the CPC. So we did send the CPC a letter with an email saying that Joe said that it would have to come from them. We do have another meeting coming up with them on the 11th, which is this Thursday. So they did approve it, a vote 4-3, but they could revisit the vote. So if you guys are in support, or, I mean, I think that you should try to attend, if at all possible, just to say that we really want this to go through. And those monuments are in critical need. HP2, which was the fencing project, was not voted on at all because they have run out of money. They did approve the Brooks Academy CPC article, which is over $1 million, which used up the rest of the historic funds. So there was no funds available. So if we wanted to bring the fence project back next year, we could, or, but for this year, it's off the table. So they're not moving forward with that. So I just wanted to give you guys an update to know where we were at on those projects. And if somebody wants to attend on Thursday, I will be attending, and I'll be following up with an email. It looks like they want a grant agreement between us and the church. I did reach out to one of the members of the church this week, And I'm hoping that they get back to me as soon as possible, because it'd be a shame if we don't move forward with this, because
Right.
once those monuments get damaged any further, they won't be able to be repaired. So that's the concern that I have. But that's where we're at with that. We do have the letters of support from members of the congregation as well as the historian. And I just want them, I'll reach out to those people as well, as members of the church, so maybe they want to attend.
Did
And
that get sent over to them too, those letters?
those letters are in the packet, so they should have had that anyways, but I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page.
Could I ask you where is the meeting and what time?
It is a go-to meeting, and it's at 11, it's on the 11th, and I believe it's at 6 o'clock. But I can send you the credentials, Cindy, if you would like to
Okay.
log in. And there's public comment at the beginning of the meeting. I think once the public comment ends, then later, if they're talking about it, we're not allowed to talk at that point. So if you wanted to say a brief comment at the beginning, you could say a brief comment at the beginning, but that would be the extent of usually what the participation is.
Okay. I am a member of that church, by the way.
Oh, oh, good.
So that might help a little.
So I wanted to give you guys an update on the Civil Veterans Memorial that is going to be next year's CPC article. So I wanted to know people all the information that is required for me to put the soldiers' names on a Civil War memorial. I called the DAR. We have to make sure that they were registered here in Harwich. So it needs the full name, residence at the time of enlistment. The enlistment has to be from Harwich. Their age of enlistment, their occupation at the time, the regiment, their company, their date of birth, place of birth, muster date, muster out, if they were wounded, place they were wounded, if they were POW, the date of their imprisonment, place of their imprisonment, if they got paroled, the date of death, cause of death, and then I'm putting in which cemetery they are buried in for our sake, because we'll be putting Civil War medallions or flag holders at each one of their graves. So far I'm worked a little bit more last night, so I'm much further along in the book, but I'm almost up to the page 300. But as you know, it's got 847 pages. So I also put in the packet in case anybody that's watching us is interested in this book, or if they have Civil War veterans themselves and their family, so that they could grab the book, which is on Amazon. So they could get that. And then I put a sample page of what it looks like, which is, talks about, it's very small writing, very tedious to go through, but. And then I'm using another resource, which is the U.S. Civil War draft records, which you can find on Ancestry or probably Family Search. So I just put up some examples of if somebody else was interested in doing this in the public, they could help. And then I just put up a single page of what the veterans that I found so far. And mostly went through the 58th Regiment, and we had Company A and Company H mostly. We had a couple other people that I found because I knew that they were buried in Island Pond. One of them was in the 39th. I haven't gotten to that, believe it or not. The 58th is the first company listed in this Massachusetts book. I think it goes by date of record or something like that. I'm not quite sure why they did it like that, but hopefully we will continue. I have a funny feeling we currently have 47 names. I don't know how many will be finished at the end, but I think it should be substantial. So as we go forward, I'll keep you updated on that. And then after I finish the Civil War one, I'll have to go on to the Revolutionary War one. But hopefully we'll have all those completed, hopefully by the summer.
And if you want any help with that, I'd be glad to help you if I can.
Okay, you'll have to come in. I'll give you a little quick lesson.
Okay.
Bring a magnifying glass because that's small writing.
Yeah.
Pretty small, yeah.
The next is the ArborNet application.
Yeah, so I have a meeting with Joe on Wednesday to go over all of the specifications. I did send the draft application over to my contact at arbor.net. It is completely finished. I think it's just right now has to go before the Board of Selectmen because they oversee the property. And then Joe as the town administrator, they both have to be listed on the application. So I just want them to go through it and let me know. I did talk to the horticultural teacher, Mr. Gonzalez, over at the Cape Cod Tech, who they were instrumental with helping us originally identify some of the trees. And due to COVID, you know, they can't help out at this time. And but he wishes us luck. I did send him the draft application so that he could go over it. He thanked me for including them, you know, and let me know that unfortunately at this time, the Cape Cod Tech kids are not allowed to do any of that work, but as soon as they are able to, they'll get back in contact with me. But I'm excited to move forward and hopefully we can have the dedication of that by the end of, before the summer.
That'd be great.
Great.
I know. Yeah.
Now, on the package you sent out, there's that Harwich Independent
Yes.
article.
Yeah, so that actually is under new business. So I just want to just finish up with the old business first.
Okay, the other.
So the articles that we currently have for town meeting are going to be both of our CPC articles. And originally we were going to go through the rules and regulations and post them this year. We haven't even addressed that yet. So I don't know if we want to try to cram that in. I don't know if it's even possible to get it in at this point. Because we would have to make the changes, submit them and have them to the town administrator by a certain point. If you wanted to try to do that, we could try to book another appointment and post it as an agenda item. I don't know if you guys just want to do the two that we have for this year. It's up to you. We did change a little bit of the rules and regulations already, but I think we need to do a real deep dive into them. And I think that's going to take more than 1 or 2 meetings.
I think so too. Be better to take more time than try to rush something through.
I agree. And I think if we, you know, probably reach out to the public and let them know that the changes we're doing in advance, I think it'll be a lot more smoother of a process. And I think that's the way we should go.
Okay, because I have,
But it's up to you guys. You're in charge of the commission, so.
I think we should probably push that off to the next one instead of trying to rush something through right now.
Okay.
Because I get copies of the other rules from other towns that you passed out one time, so we can, if everybody can get copies of that, then we can sit and go through them all and see what we like or how to reword something or add
Okay.
stuff.
All right, so I think I will put that on the agenda for the next meeting, maybe to put up the rules and regulations again from the other towns.
Okay, that sounds reasonable.
What they're coming forward with. Because some of them are changing theirs right now as well, so we'll see what their amendments are.
And it'd be nice if they were sort of cohesive with the whole area, you know?
Right. So under the new business, we did have the Alfred M. Davidson lot in Mount Pleasant. So his lot abuts the new portion that we had expanded when we moved the fence. We found out our lot line was, but there was no monument there. And I was wondering if he was buried there. So I pulled his lot information and I was able to get his death certificate from town hall, and he is buried there. Not only was he buried there, but he used to be in charge of the Mount Pleasant Cemetery. And his wife ended up, after his death, she moved away and remarried and she never came back, but no one ever put a memorial down on his grave space. And he ran the cemetery, and I think it's a shame that he has no memorial there. So I enclosed the Harwich Independent newspaper article that said he passed away at his home here on May 31st due to an illness of 4 months. He was 63 years of age and leaves his widow. And then it says, Mr. Davis was formerly of New Hampshire and had lived in Mount Pleasant Lake for 7 years. And for the past 7 years resided in his home on Doan Road. He was in charge of the Harwich Port Cemetery and was a member of the Boston Lodge of the IOOF, which I didn't know what that was, so I had to look it up. And it just went on and talks about how he was buried there. So I did reach out to Tom Blue to find out how much a memorial, a flat flush marker would cost to place on the grave, which would be $1,000. I truly feel that we should move forward and get this marker for him. He did run the cemetery. We have taken over that cemetery and he has no marker. And I don't know how anybody else feels, but if somebody would like to make that motion.
Someone like to make a motion?
Sure.
Yeah, I think this is important.
Go ahead.
Seconded?
I'll
Okay,
second
so Cindy, did you make the motion or did Rob?
Rob.
And Cindy, you second?
Yes,
Or-
please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes.
Robin, do you know if he has any family around?
He never had any children. That was the other
Oh,
thing. So I was
okay.
like, if we don't do it, no one's going to. And
No, absolutely.
I really feel like that we probably should. So
I do too.
and that way, we can just keep it in his file folder with all the minutes of the meeting, and then we'll know that that was taken care of.
That's good. Thank you for that.
And then the other thing I'd like to bring up is that it's the cemetery on Bank Street. It has been surveyed,
Yes.
and I took pictures of but it's funny, he only has that one front corner stake in and one in the back.
So there actually are 4 corner barns. So this is what Paul, I don't know if, am I doing this correctly? Can you all see it?
Yep.
So
You
there
put
are
4
4 corners there are 4 corner bounds already in the ground, and he was able to locate them. So I really feel that while the bounds have been located and it's a freshly done, the abutter to the right-hand side has all of his shrubs over on the cemetery property.
Yeah, most of that whole line is on the cemetery.
Right. I really feel that while we have it surveyed, that it's important for us to delineate the boundary of this cemetery.
Absolutely.
I think if we don't move now, we're gonna have have someone come back and survey it again, because then we won't be able to find the bounds again. And I feel like we should move forward with this. So, Steve, what do you think our action should be?
I think we should probably get a hold of an estimate to get a fence put up.
Okay.
And if it's a reasonable amount, go ahead and have the fence installed. Now, are we gonna have to write this gentleman a letter to tell him to move the shrubs, or we just have the fence put right through it and remove them later?
No. I think Paul was going to write a letter telling the abutter that the
Okay.
shrubs are on the town property and they need to be removed. We can also make sure that I can contact the town administrator to let him know. And I don't know if we need to get something from him as well, but it's harder now with us because we don't have the town surveyor working for the town. Normally I just shoot him an email, he
Right.
shoots me the answer. I will reach out to him and find out the process in that. And I just want to make sure we're following the process and that we're not overstepping any of our bounds. But I will reach out to Joe when I have my meeting tomorrow, and I'll bring it up and I'll say what is our process to move forward with this to get a fence. I'll also reach out to All Cape Fence and see.
Okay.
I'll give them the dimensions and tell them so what kind of fence are we looking to put there?
Just a simple split rail or a round rail fence, something like that. Something that looks kind of natural to the area.
Okay.
I don't think we need a picket fence or anything like that.
I think the round rail probably would last and be more secure than the split rail. But I don't know what you want to do. So we also had that kind of like a split rail fence that we did put in Mount Pleasant. Do you want something similar to that one? Cindy, do you remember that one that we put up?
I can't picture it at the moment.
Okay.
Is that a round rail?
I think that one might be a split rail.
Split
But
rail.
you know what I'll do? I'll get a price quote for both and then pictures of both. And then that way you guys can make a decision.
Yeah, and the round rail should be some kind of a pressure treated, so we're not replacing it all the time either.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then a split rail. All righty.
Hopefully the stakes are still there.
Well, the bounds are in the ground, so he knows where those are. So, I mean,
So all four corners had bounds already put in?
the bounds are in. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So he found all 4 bounds, he said,
Good.
that was really good. Because he thought they would be missing.
Now, there's no headstone or marker or anything in there, is there?
There is a stone, yes.
Really?
There's a stone in the middle. It was probably just covered with snow or whatever when you went. There's only one stone there.
Is there just one burial?
I don't know. I'm going to try to do some research on both of their properties that are the abutters, because I'm assuming that the burial is somebody from that area.
Yeah,
And hopefully I'll be able to identify who's actually buried there.
good.
So you do know the guy's name that's buried there?
I do not at this time, but I will find it out. We have his initials. It only
Okay,
has initials on the burial stone.
that's interesting.
So before this meeting, I had several different burial lots that I sold this month. We had Lisa Becker bought 1 single grave. We had the Littles, they bought 3 graves in Evergreen. Mrs. Carlton, she bought 1 grave in Island Pond. Mrs. Heap, she bought 4 graves. But then we had come over this past weekend. I had 2 more graves in Evergreen. So when you guys get a chance, if you could swing by my office so you could sign off on those deeds so I could get them to those the people in question. So I will do all the totals and let you know. So in the packet, the additional lots that I sold was an additional $1,600. So we took in quite a bit of money. I could do the quick math if you want me to. So. So I took in $9,000 this past month.
Awesome.
Okay.
It's great.
And I think so many people are just with all this, the COVID stuff, I think they're just planning or, just thinking about what's could possibly happen to them. And I think a lot more people are buying lots than normally would at this time of the year, because I never am this busy, January and February. So it's been crazy.
Can I ask a quick question as the new guy? Is
Mhm.
there a proportion or percentage that we need to keep in our budget to buy back?
So it goes in, so part of the money goes into our revolving account and part of it goes into perpetual care. And then they just withdraw that money. It's very rare that people sell back lots to us, maybe once a year. And usually the lots they sell back is we have to buy it back for what they paid for it. And the majority of the time it's like $600, $500. I mean, it's,
Well, I'm just thinking, like so many things with COVID, you get a swing in one direction of everybody pre-planning.
Yeah.
And as we come out of this, it could go the other way, and they move to
right.
some other place and decide
But
to
we
do
are
something else.
having a disinterment in one of our cemeteries coming up this month. So from a while ago, many years ago, a gentleman had passed away here and was buried in Evergreen Cemetery. He was originally from New Jersey, and his wife is now returned to New Jersey with her other children, and now she wants to move him from here to New Jersey. So there'll be a disinterment, and he'll be reinterred in New Jersey. So it does happen, but not that often. I've been in the job since 2004. This is only my third disinterment.
Now, I was just thinking when people sell the plots back because they've moved to Florida and they're going to do it all over again there.
Yeah, usually that only happens once a year, maybe, if we're lucky. Most people, if they're not going to use them, they sometimes just give burial rights to their children, or, sometimes they donate it back to the town because they actually get a write-off for more money than they would receive. So more often than not, they'll take the write-off rather than the money.
Gotcha. Okay, thanks.
Okay, is there any other new business?
Nope. And then the only other thing is our bills. We had an Eversource bill for $6, WB Mason for $16.90. My mileage was $52.08, and then we had water bills. South Harwich was $35, North Harwich was $35, Mount Pleasant was $38.87. The Mount Pleasant building was $37.58, Pine Grove was $36.29, and Island Palm was $42.74. And that was it.
Great.
So I have scanned in the bills and sent them off to you guys. Did you get them?
Yep.
And we're still doing the email sign off back to you?
You can email and sign off back to me, and then I can process them. Steve came into the office to sign the deeds the other day. So if you and Cindy would just send that off to me this morning, then I can process those bills. Great.
Well, and the date of the next meeting would be March 2nd.
Does that work for everybody? Because I put in for that meeting at the close of this meeting. Make sure we have that meeting confirmed. So as we know, this afternoon, Ashley will be leading our little tour in Island Pond. And very excited for you guys to walk around. If you cannot make it or feel like you don't, if it's, the weather's going to be too much for you, we understand, but she will be down there with Caroline to lead you guys away.
Is that at 11?
Yes.
Okay, when you
So-
said afternoon, you had me.
Oh,
You worried me.
Seems like afternoon to me because I get up at 5.
Exactly. Me too. I do have a quick question. I'm sorry I missed out earlier. I was missing one digit in the code. Anyway, I had a question on Paul Sweets' surveying of the Kelly Cemetery. What's the 18 Old Brewster Road address?
So 18 Old Brewster Road is it intersects like this. This is Melody Lane and this is Old Brewster Road. So if you go, Old Brewster Road is the road that goes to the Cranberry Bog.
Okay, gotcha.
And then the other one that goes down along those houses to the left is Memory Lane.
Okay, that's what had me.
I love that they changed it to Memory Lane. It used to be Factory Road, but there were so many factory roads it was getting
So
confused.
is this the same Kelly Cemetery?
Yeah.
Or is it a different one?
Same one.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure. I was a little confused on that. Threw me on the Old Brewster Road. Thank you.
So hopefully they'll have that survey done, and we could maybe do one of the tours out there, and you guys could see that old cemetery.
That'd be good.
Great. Okay, any other business?
Is there anything anybody would like to put on next month's agenda? that hasn't been addressed already?
Can't think of anything.
Okay,
Well, we'll be going ahead with the fence at Bank Street if that all looks good before that, or do we need to put that on that meeting?
I think we can bring it back for that meeting and then we can move forward. Because you guys have to approve it, unless you want to approve it if it's not over a certain amount, and we can move forward, but,
I mean, it's what, 3 weeks away?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not gonna get that much information by then, are we?
no, and to be perfectly honest with you, I don't know that they'd be installing a fence if we keep having all these winter storms. I think
Right.
it might not happen until probably March anyways, so I think it's a safe bet to wait. And then
Okay,
you
we can
guys
put
will have
that on next month then.
number, and then you'll be approving in that, and I'd like you guys to make the decision which fence you want. So I will
Okay.
include both the different types of fence and the price quote. So do you guys want like it to be fenced in with a little gate? Oh,
It would need a gate for maintenance purposes, wouldn't it?
yes,
Yeah, then I'd definitely put a gate.
okay. All righty.
Good. We'll see Ashley at 11 then.
We'll be there. Okay,
you.
hearing no other,
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
yes.
Who
I'll
was-
motion we adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
All
Rob,
in favor?